Hey everybody, today's May 8th and this is Veronica with Project Food Forest. Just thought I would show you around some of the lazy things and some of the not so lazy things I've been doing around the yard and showing you how the perennial plants are coming along. So this garden had rocks in it until this early spring when I moved them, and so I did mulch it at one point with leaves and they all blew away like the next day. So when I pulled the rocks away, I had ground that was not covered and exposed, so I took advantage of it and planted a bunch of potatoes that I had in cold storage that had started to sprout. So here's all my potatoes popping up. I planted those around Good Friday like you're supposed to. Got rose bush coming back after the rabbits ate it all down. And the rhubarb that I planted last year is getting fairly big. I've also got sunflowers popping up all over that I accidentally planted by dumping seeds out for the birds to eat, and not sure what I'm going to do with those yet. I've got lots of milkweed shoots popping up. This is what milkweed shoots look like when they get a few inches taller. I'll start harvesting them. If you're in the wild or in a place where you're unsure, there is a look-alike of milkweed. Dogwood is in the same family and is mildly toxic. So if you plan on harvesting from the wild, just make sure you know the difference. It's popping up everywhere, and some people would consider this a weed. I consider milkweed my favorite vegetable. Just cut it off when it actually, okay, yeah, just like, I'll wait till that gets maybe another inch or two taller, and then I'll start harvesting them. And I think, I'm gonna try this here, but I think if you cut it off underneath the soil, like asparagus, it might actually just come right back up, which is great because then you have it for the monarchs, and the other insects, and you have it for the other crops that it produces as well, including the edible fruits and the flowers that smell so delicious, and the edible silk before the seeds turn brown, and of course the seeds, so that you give them away to your friend or plant more. I don't know if you can see, but I've got more popping up all over the yard. These are just from one plant that seeded itself one year as a weed. I'm allowing it to grow. This spring I ended up putting tougher protection around my apple trees. The tree that was here died, and I replaced it with a seedling that I'll have to graft with an edible variety when it gets a little bigger. What I was using before for protection was just some plastic netting. It really wasn't working that great, and it would always get tangled and it didn't look very good. So this is a little bit more expensive than using the plastic, but well worth it in my experience. And I think my husband agreed this time. So I've got lots and lots of mustard seedlings coming up. It's really pretty, but it's really spicy. It's also coming up in the neighbors. Just this one though. Oh, I guess a couple here. But when they spray, which they probably will, it'll go away. The sorrel is getting big and most of them are flowering now, so I'll have seeds to share soon. The orange that I showed you is getting a lot bigger. I've been harvesting some of it. And the chives are flowering. Here's beautiful chive flowers. And the salad burnets that did survive, a lot of them didn't survive actually. So it's not as hardy as they say it is, apparently. This is a better picture of actually this is the best picture of the garden sorrel blooming. Looks a lot like rhubarb, doesn't it? Because it's in the same family. Comfrey is about ready to flower. Setting up some shoots there. I should probably, well, I should whack them down pretty soon for mulch, but I kind of want the flowers because the bees love those flowers. Transplanted some lettuce in there, some onion and cabbage seedlings in here. I actually think I'll do a lot of my gardening just up here because you don't have to put a fence around it, because all of these plants, especially the onion and the fragrant ones like comfrey and salvia, they kind of confuse the deer. And so a lot of my plants up here get protected without actual barricades. I've got cilantro popping up all over, which is awesome because I love cilantro. These comfrey are huge. I also added in some silver buffalo berries next to the apple trees. Silver buffalo berry is a native plant. A native plant with edible berries high in saponins and high in antioxidants. They're edible raw, but better tasting when you process them. It's a nitrogen fixing shrub, which is why I planted them one next to each tree to help fix nitrogen for the tree and share with the tree. So we'll see how that turns out. They also have a lot of thorns, so hopefully eventually it'll add a little bit of protection to the tree too. So like I said earlier, the other tree didn't make it. So this tree is flowering and has nothing to cross-pollinate it up front. So when the crabapple tree in the back was flowering, I took a couple of branches from it every now and then and would put them in a water bottle that I had tied to the base of the tree, so that hopefully the bees will cross-pollinate from that. We'll see how many apples we get. There's a lovely bee right there. So for these deer fences, I got the idea from some other YouTuber, and I thought it was a fantastic idea. You get 20 feet of, he used concrete reinforcing wire or something, and I used this fencing, pretty much the same thing, whatever you find available to you. And then just a 6-foot metal pole staked into the ground. And then this was more my idea so that I could get in, but I also used one of these little plastic poles, wrapped the wire around the other side, and then it's just tied with one quick twist of a wire. And then you have an entrance point, an easy entrance point, and that's just in a hole here. It's not like I need to get in here a lot, but I should probably get in there and get control of those dandelions.